use your face mask whilst here, and we have sanitizers available. Make sure that constantly you sanitize your hands. Keep safe so that we do not breach the precautionary protocols we are all supposed to adhere to. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I will invite to the podium the man who will be addressing us, who will be setting the record straight relative to the issues we raised in our 14th May 2020 press conference. Is none other than our Director of Elections, Honorable Comrade Elvis Afriye Ankra. Thank you very much. And so I will sanitize the microphone and ladies and gentlemen, please kindly put your mobile phones on silent before our speaker starts his address. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sami, and I stand on all the previous protocols. Welcome all of you here. And as Sami indicated, at our press conference of May 14th, 2020, you'll recall that we exposed the grand criminal collusion between the Electoral Commission, the National Identification Authority, and the ruling New Patriotic Party to rig the 2020 elections for President Akufo-Addo. Since then, we have noted some supposed pathetic and irrational responses from the Jane Mensah-led EC and the Atifa-led NIA to the issues we raised at that press conference. Rather than address the legitimate concerns we raised, the two state institutions have resorted to blatant falsehoods to obfuscate the simple issues and thereby mislead the nation. The purpose of today's press conference is therefore to respond to the several deliberate distortions which have been peddled by the EC and the NIA in their respective statements and help Ghanaians appreciate the seriousness of the concerns we have raised and the danger that they portend for the country. Before proceeding any further, and for the purpose of emphasis, let me restate the case of the NDC relative to the new CI, which has been laid by the EC before the August House of Parliament. For the avoidance of doubt, the NDC's opposition to the EC's entrenched and intransigent decision to compile a new voters register for the 2020 general elections remain unchanged. Let me take it again. For the avoidance of doubt, the NDC's opposition to the EC's entrenched and intransigent decision to compile a new voters register for the 2020 general elections remains unchanged. We stand by our position that the current voters register is credible and that the country does not need a new voters register for this year's general elections. We are therefore employing all legitimate means to stop the needless, illogical, and wasteful new voters register agenda of the Jane Mensah-led EC. The crux of the issues we raised at our last press conference is that the registration requirements provided under the proposed constitutional instrument, which has been laid in Parliament by the EC, that is Ghanaian passports, which has less than 2 million holders who are 18 years and above, or the Ghana card, with just about 6.5 million holders who are 18 years and above, to govern the needless, illogical, and wasteful new registration exercise they intend to undertake, are too narrow and wholly inadequate for the purposes of identifying eligible voters, which is estimated about 18 million. And that same And this realization that, first of all, less than 2 million people have passports. Most of them have used the passports as bidder documents for NIA cards. And out of the estimated population of 18 million, only 6.5 million of those 18 and above have been issued with cards. And this we see as part of the grand conspiracy between the EC, NIA, and the ruling MPP to disenfranchise over 10 million eligible voters, mostly in NDC strongholds. For purposes of clarity, the key issues are as follows. 1, the issue of lack of consultations with political parties on the proposed CI before it was laid in Parliament is something that cannot be overlooked. The claim, and very recent claim, by the MPP that the proposed CI was discussed at the 25th March IPAC meeting is a concocted barefaced lie, as the matter was neither on the agenda, and I think we have a copy of the agenda. The matter was neither on the agenda of the said IPAC meeting, nor captured in the records of the said meeting as has been discussed. In any case, and this is what makes it most ridiculous and preposterous, the proposed CI was laid in Parliament on the 17th of March 2020, 8 clear days before the 25th of March 2020 IPAC meeting in question. So how then do you say that a CI that has already been laid in Parliament was discussed at the subsequent IPAC meeting? Complete falsehood, and a very unintelligent one at that. So it is therefore preposterous and an insult to the intelligence of Ghanaians for the General Secretary of the MPP to suggest that the proposed CI was discussed at IPAC 8 days after it had been laid in Parliament. This is simply an unintelligent lie. Second is the unreasonable and unconstitutional exclusion of the existing voter ID card from the list of registration requirements provided under the proposed CI, contrary to the EC's own position that it will be used for this year's voter registration exercise, as captured on slide 27 of their presentation at the 30th January 2020 joint meeting of IPAC, the EC's eminent advisory committee, and CSOs. So we showed it the last time, just for emphasis. They stated that this is their main document. This is like their Bible or Quran. And this is the document they use to canvass their position consistently and continuously. Any group they met, diplomatic corps, civil society, trade union, they were consistent. This, and we also have videos when officials of the EC stated clearly and unambiguously that they were going to use the existing voter ID card. So the question is, what happened at midnight? So for the purposes of clarity, it says, is the EC discarding all previous data? And the answer no. And it's significant that the no had 3 exclamation marks. It means no, no, no. And I said in Hausa, they say, well, lie, never. Or in the emphasis shows that it's something that they have talked about, they have discussed and taken a decision. They use the existing data of voters, do the registration of voters into the new register. And to be registered into the new register, existing voters need to only present their existing voters' ID card to the registration officer. This is the EC's position. So what happened? This point has to be made that the existing voting ID card, voters' ID card, is the most widely available identification document in Ghana with over 16 million holders and has been upheld by the Supreme Court of Ghana as the best prima facie evidence of voter eligibility in the Abu Ramadan case. And I think we have the summary of that to the Abu Ramadan case. Okay. It is the identification document with the strictest, most rigorous, and transparent acquisition procedure, and has been used in the compilation of all voter registers since the inception of the Fourth Republic, 1996, 2004, and 2012. And so, this is former Chief Justice President Wood, and so for all practical purposes, the old voter card is the best prima facie evidence of an applicant's eligibility. Certainly, if the holder were not qualified for registration as a voter, how did he or she come by the voter registration card under the law then in force? And it's important that we take you through how people get their voter ID cards. First of all, you have to go to a polling station, and you must be an ordinary resident of that polling station. So when you go, political parties have their agents there. Civil society have their agents there. Electoral officers are there, and you could be challenged. Beyond that, after you're registered, it goes through a process of exhibition. At the point of exhibition, somebody can challenge and your name can be excluded. If you are challenged, it goes through an adjudicating process. And that process could culminate in you facing a magistrate court. If you lose and you want to appeal, it could go as far as the High Court. So that is the standard. That and the procedures and processes that this card goes through. And today you are telling us what? We should throw that card away? So, as I said, it is an identification document with the strictest, most rigorous, and transparent acquisition procedure, and has been used in the compilation of all voters register. Again, they are talking about people who use NIA card. Indeed, the Supreme Court ruled that those cards should be removed, and the EC complied and removed those names. So if the EC knows anybody who used NIA card, they should bring the list and remove the names. You cannot, on suspicion, you don't have any facts, you don't have any list, and say that you want to prevent people, you don't know who they are, and you create a process where millions of Ghanaians will now not be eligible to register. The third point is the inclusion of the Ghana card, whose issuance is incomplete and has been fraught with several anomalies in the list of registration requirements under the proposed CI. You don't recall when they started the Ghana card, our people, we arrested people, you remember? Took them to police station, several cases, they were registering people in MPP executives' home. These are facts that you, the media, covered and reported on. What is happening to them? That is the kind of NIA card that we have. And you say that that is more credible than the voter's card? And this is contrary to the EC's earlier position that same will not be used for the purposes of this year's voter registration exercise. The fourth, and they say this to throw dust. Let me acknowledge our chairman. Chairman, you are very welcome. The fourth is the over-reliance on the secondary identification method of vouching as a norm rather than an exception, in breach of international best practice relative to identity management. They've been throwing dust in our eyes. If you don't have a passport, and mind you, less than 2 million people have passports anyway. You don't have a passport and you don't have an NIA card, then they've created a situation where previously only 5 people can guarantee for you. Now you can guarantee for 10 people. Thank you. I'm suffering. Thank you very much. So, so now you can guarantee for 10 people and all those things, they're just playing. They think that people do not know. First of all, when it comes to identity management, it's not exclusive to Ghana. There are international standards and protocols. So the guarantee for somebody is meant to be the exception rather than the norm. By international protocol, only 5% of people should be guaranteed based on the secondary procedure, that is people guaranteeing for you. The breeder document, which is the main document you choose, should be a document that majority of the people would have access to. And in this case, it should be the voters' ID card, which has over 16 million people. But you have a situation where by virtue of the NIA's action, which I'll prove further, you have over 16 million people, millions of people not being able to have access to the card, and yet that card is your main breeder document. That is not fair. So this idea of somebody can guarantee for you, in any case, from a very practical point of view, if you have to guarantee for 10 people in a very practical way, when the NIA were doing the registration, we all saw what happened. You go, you guarantee for the person, they say wait for the person to go through, because if any information you put out there is not correct and you've left, how would they know? So imagine somebody has gone there, spent a whole day or 2 days, 3 days, and then now he has to wait. All the people he guaranteed for, they must wait. It's going to be chaotic. That also delays the registration process. Already we are behind schedule, and I'll come to that. So the whole thing just does not make sense. So that issue of guarantee is meant to be supplementary. So if 90%, 95% of the people have access to the main document, then the few 5% who don't have any document, they will then resort to somebody guaranteeing for them. Now, let me deal with the NIA specifically. Apart from the deliberate distortions contained therein, the NIA's response has confirmed the NDC's position that since 2017, they have registered only 11 million Ghanaians and issued just about 7 million cards. And out of the 7 million, only about 6.5 million people are above 18 years and above. So, in effect, only about 6.5 million people have access to the NIA card. I've already told you that less than 2 million people, let's say 1.5, because foreigners, children, will also have access to passports. And mind you, you can't even count all the people who have passports, because some of them use the passports as a breeder document to get the NIA card. So you're talking about some 1 million thereabouts. So what is going to happen to the rest of us who yet do not have our cards? And the NIA themselves, in their response, confirmed the figures we put out. The NIA could not dispute our claim that only 5.17%, and 6.36% of the registrable population in the Upper West and Upper East regions, respectively, have been issued Ghana cards as we speak. So Upper West, Upper East, Northern region, Savannah, Northeast, you look at the figures from 86%, 85%, 84%, and Upper East and Upper West 5.17%, Upper East 6.36%. So the rest of the people, the 90-something percent, what is going to happen to them? Are they not Ghanaians? Do they not deserve to be treated rightly and fairly and justly as anybody else? Do they have to go through the hassle of trying to find people to guarantee for them with all its attendant delays and frustrations? And we're in the rainy season and the farming season. When we talk about registration, we are not talking in the context of something that we don't know. It's been happening, and we all know what happens when it's time for registration, especially when it borders on electoral matters. So they couldn't dispute our claim, and they are relying on saying, for the voter registration exercise they intend to undertake next month, they say, that's easy, and which will compel over 93% of eligible voters in these two regions, which are strongholds of the NDC. So take note of that, because when we say, they say, where is the conspiracy? So by some strange, accidental, the strongholds of the NDC, you have a situation where 93% of eligible voters in these two regions will not have access to their cards, and they have to resort to the secondary identification method as for vouching as the norm rather than the exception. Is it fair? Is it right? Are you creating a level playing field? This democracy that we've toiled for, is that how we want to build and sustain it? The NIA again has confirmed our position that the snail pace of Ghana card registration exercise is largely incomplete, and that they are now waiting for the COVID-19 situation in the country to subside so they can embark on a mop-up and card distribution exercise in some regions. The big question, therefore, is why will Jim Mensah-led EC rely on an identification card, Ghana card, whose issuance is largely incomplete and fraught with several anomalies and demographic disparities? Why? Why is the Jim Mensah-led EC excluding from the list of registration requirements under the proposed CI their own widely available and acceptable voters' ID card, and rather including the Ghana card, which is currently possessed by just about 6.5 million Ghanaians who are 18 years and above? A card which is currently not accepted by any public, private, or commercial institution. You go to the banks today, they don't accept the cards. How many of you have sent Ghana cards to bank and they've accepted before? They don't accept it. That's a fact. So why will they insist, after telling the whole public that they're going to use the old card, and then surreptitiously they go and remove the card and then now insist on the Ghana card, which majority of the citizens do not have? Now let me come to the EC. As for the EC's lame response, the least said about it, the better. None of the germane issues raised at our last press conference has been addressed by the EC. The commonsensical question that is begging for an answer is why the Jim Mensah-led EC excluded the existing voters' ID card from the list of registration requirements provided under the proposed CI. Why have they excluded an identification card that has been upheld by the Supreme Court as the best prima facie evidence of voter eligibility? And we showed you. This is a decided case with the Supreme Court. That is law. When the Supreme Court makes a proclamation, it is akin to law. So is the EC above the law? Can they do whatever they want? And then they'll quote, we are independent institution. Independent institution must be within the confines of the law and reason and common sense. And if you are given power, that power, the Constitution says it must be, the lawyers help the article what? It must not be used in an arbitrary manner. 298. Somebody should find it for me so that I'll read. You must not use that power capriciously and all those things. Whimsically, arbitrarily, and in a biased manner. Is this not whimsical, arbitrary, and biased way of doing things? So, why have they excluded a voter ID card, which is the most credible and available form of identification in this country, from the list of registration requirements, save the germane issue and all other claims of the EC are all red herrings. All the things they said really is neither here nor there. In fact, I heard one of them saying that, the EC can decide to change its mind at any time. Really? Really? I mean, I was dumbfounded when I heard a representative of the EC on air saying they decided to change their mind. When you were stating your position, you engaged stakeholders. And the stakeholders, some of them probably were convinced. People have been asking, why is it that the Christian Council, others, or they are not talking? Maybe they were convinced. Maybe. We give them the benefit of the doubt. That, okay, if you have your old card and you just go as they said it here, we have videos to show, several videos. The director of IT, the director of election services, they all said it. Oh, if you have your card, you go, they'll just take your picture. Okay, it's okay, let's manage. Now, that is a major issue that borders on accessibility and credibility of the entire electoral process. You take that one out and you say you change your mind. You didn't consult anybody. And when they saw that they had been found out, they then sent somebody to go and lie that it was discussed at an IPAC. They didn't even think through that they had forgotten that the CI had been laid earlier before that so-called IPAC meeting. How would you describe this one? As for our friends in the MPP, when you listen to their statement, you don't know whether they thought it was a rally or they just did not address any issues. They went on an attack of the former president, Mahama, who they know is a threat to them. You recall before the NDC primaries, NPP people, gurus, were advising him not to contest. Has and Kotoko are going to play match. And the team of the other side, I don't want to mention this team or that team so that you treat me alive, is saying that don't use this goalkeeper. What be that? Because they know he's a threat to their chances. So they spend all their time, insults, attacks, and everything. It will amount to anything. And then the most laughable aspect of it is they don't need the NIA and they don't need the EC to win an election. Really? Really? When in a common by-election, Ayawaso West by-election, you attempted to commit murder. When somebody points a gun, AK-47, and shoots, the luck is that the gun didn't enter the head or any of the organs. They were going to kill, attempt to kill for a by-election. And you tell us that you don't need to do what to win. The record of their party and their government does not resonate with that claim they are making that they don't need the EC and the NIA. So, and when somebody is taken to court for committing a crime, there are two ways. Sometimes he's caught red-handed, that one is simple. Sometimes he's not caught red-handed, but the evidence that one, here is EC, that says, so we'll use voters ID card. Then EC says that on several forums. Then NIA, oh, this card, even the NIA said the card is not needed for voters registration. I'm sure we have that video. They said it on several occasions. And then the NIA goes to do the registration. As they do the registration, by some strange reason, they send more equipment, and indeed, he confirmed it that the equipment finally arrived when they were now going to other regions. But that is exactly what we were saying. That if we were not ready, what was the rush? Because you have to be seen to be fair to everybody. And then you go to those other regions, the statistics show that in those regions, registered less the number of people who voted in 2016 than the people you have registered now. But then when it came to Ashanti region, which is the stronghold of the APP, you registered more people. That is evidence. And then for some strange reason too, when it comes to our strongholds, Upper East, Upper West, Bono, Northeast, Savannah, all those places, the number of people who have their cards is grossly, I mean, Central Western. How can you register people and in some cases only 5% of the people have the card, 6%? And you say you're going to do mop-up. Mop-up when? If it took you 3 years to distribute 7 million cards, when will you finish the so-called mop-up? And would the EC wait for them? In any case, as we speak now, as I'm talking to you now, the EC hasn't got a timetable. Or any of you, you go to one of those their meetings. Do you know their timetable? The EC does not have a timetable. This is unprecedented in the electoral history of this country. And they must be called out. You don't have a timetable. We're going into a very crucial elections. Now, the only thing we have is a document when they went to ECOWAS. There was a video conference, ECOWAS, which we had access to. And if you look at those documents, hold on, please. ECOWAS. Okay. Okay. But if you look at that timetable they gave to ECOWAS, what it meant was that they said they were going to start the registration middle of June and end in July sometime. If you look at the dates, and I will get the dates, you will see that there's a point where they said in September, candidates will file their nominations. By that September, the final register would not have been ready. And you know that for candidates to file their nominations, you need a certified copy of the register. Because assuming that there was somebody in the register who proposes you or seconds you or whatever, and there's a challenge to that person, subsequently, that person's name will not be in the final register. And this has been a reason for disqualifying people. So we are heading towards danger. So as for MPP, that they don't need in any case, we are in a global world. We have seen things that have happened in neighboring countries. Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, all those places that there was trouble was based on electoral disputes. And the foundation for those disputes were disputed electoral registers. If we talk about rigging, it's not just on voting day, but if the electoral system is skewed and people in your strongholds are not allowed to register, prima facie, you have been rigged. So, and then again, COVID-19. So how many people did we have before they suspended in the Eastern region? You recall in the Eastern region, when they were doing the registration, and then the numbers were going up. We had about 268, you know, and 3 deaths. Today, here we have crossed the 6,000 mark. We are leading in Africa.
West Africa.
West Africa.
We are second to Nigeria.
We are second to Nigeria, you know, so it's a silver cup. God forbid. But Nigerian population is 4 times. So if you look at it, you do the statistical analysis, it's frightening. And in the face of this, you stopped registration when we were 200 and something, okay, for the NIA card. Now you want to register 17, 18 million people in 40 days. My brethren, brothers and sisters, let's be honest though. You put NDC aside, put MPP aside. Is this realistic? Is this sound? That you want to register 18 million people in 40 days? Are we not in this Ghana? And when you say, they say, oh, they will do social distancing, 25 people. Sometimes I don't even understand what is happening in this country again. So let's even assume that you succeed in 25 people. That's within your perimeter. Will you determine how many people will come from their homes? Because you say you are clustering 5, 6, or 8 polling stations. So the people who will be outside the perimeter, and you say your people will wear PPE. What about the citizens? Will you give everybody PPE? And when people are going to register, will they not help them with their thumbprints and etc.? Will that not bring them into close proximity with people? How would you determine that the person has it or doesn't have it? These are practical, commonsensical issues that we are putting out there, and we want you, the media, to ask. But when you say, they say, oh, and they said they will do it. But the fact that they said they will do it is not enough. We must ask them questions. We must ask them questions, relevant questions. So we foresee a situation where if they attempt to do it, first of all, it's going to be very chaotic. There will be confusion all across the country. And secondly, God forbid, if they persist, the COVID-19 cases are going to blow out of proportion. Or we don't want any of these things to happen. You see, when we talk, they say, oh, we are calling for, somebody was warning them that, look, these are the things that happen in other countries and that led to chaos and instability. They say you should report to police. It is because we don't want those things to happen. That is why we are warning. We don't want that. This democracy, the NDC, we played a critical part. We birthed this constitution. It's part of our legacy. So we don't want to go back to the days of curfew and people run. God forbid, it will not happen. But it will not happen when we don't talk and we just sit down. This matter goes beyond NDC and MPP. This is the sustenance of our democracy. So, ladies and gentlemen, as far as we are concerned, the wishy-washy responses of the EC, NIA, and the MPP to the issues we have raised further exposes the criminal conspiracy between these entities to disenfranchise millions of eligible voters and subvert the will of the people. But the people of this country are discerning and vigilant and will not allow this attempt to undermine the integrity of this year's general election and, for that matter, our democracy. We shall employ every legitimate means to resist the attempt to suppress votes and rig the 2020 general elections. It is not for nothing that in our national anthem we have a line that says, and help us to resist oppressors with all our will and might forevermore. And help us to resist oppressors with all our will and might forevermore. It's not every oppressor that is carrying a gun. Some oppressors, they speak mellifluous English and they carry constitution, but they are worse than those who are carrying guns. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Director for Elections, Honorable Elvis Afriyie-Ankrah, for that insightful, excellent, and passionate address. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure the issues are now very clear to you. And I am sure that after today, you will not allow anyone to obfuscate these simple issues, these simple but important issues, and that you will help educate the Ghanaian populace about what the issues are and how important these issues are to our democracy and the integrity of the upcoming general elections. We will take your questions. But before I do so, let me acknowledge, I left them out initially. I apologize sincerely for that. Let me make the point that Asempa 94.7 FM is covering this event live. JoyNews, I've already acknowledged, is covering this event live. GH1 Television, Class FM, Accra FM, Power FM, and Ahoto FM are all covering this event live, and we are most grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, before we allow for questions, I will do a brief summary in the key language of the presentation of our Director of Elections, and then we will take your questions. Abusuafo yenuanom semtwofo a ewie yehia wa ha se yeto yensa frame a enye bone na watwetwa mu 14th of May ena yeto yensa frame ma mo ba ha ema ye baba nsem bi mu ekire mu efa epo a Electoral Commission Jimensa Dano any National Identification Authority a ura kenete fo adano omo ne MPP fo abo se abato eda yanim 2020 enya de a omo bema ho kwan ama nipa ewo ho kwan se yetwere won din no moto aba dodo na no enya kwan atwere won din atimi ato aba ye kyerɛkyerɛ mu ma muhu ekɔ omabo se omo bewia abanim na aboama omampenye kufuado ne MPP fo edi nkunim. The national chairman ene de sansem ne tudwa ye wie ye no EC fo ababonten NIA fo ababonten omu nyina issue press statements say omu di beyi yensem a ye de tudwa no ano but abusuafo no kwasem ne se ensem poti a ye kan ya e wosenka EC fo ne NIA fo yi ano no enya de abisi ne ometimi de ho ano yie bia eto asomu e de aba o maka nsem ni bebrebe ni ehia a enensem a yaka ni nitwaka bia no maba beka enti e kamia ye se o mama nsem na ye bebree e wo Ghana fo bebree tim ni o madi so a nipa bebree aye confused enti enne yato yensa afrem se ye be sans wati nsem ni mu biem sans empanyifo se abasoba enema ijapai na ye nyina yate ye ho ase about what the issues are. Dear na NDC for ye ka dear nyina so na ye wonti a ye se NIA for ni EC for ni MPP for oboposa abaye mu bewiem ya kyerɛkyerɛ ma obi ate ase na afei so nyano no omode aba no yaka ho asem ama obi atene ho ase ewo ho enti ena ya director of elections yansem wa ya national chairman di tudwa on the 14th of May wati mu biem na asem no tofabo nyina ne se NDC ye against the EC's decision to compile a new voters register. There are 6 other political parties and over 30 credible civil society organizations there. You see, Nkete say, enya dia ye be pene so da ama EC4 ato register ye won imprimpri na to atwene akwa ye register for this 2020 elections are ye bababe. And that position, you know, and last week in Central for Bebre, Frewa no maybe say they say NDC for new register no what you say na and I'm okay say yemfa existing card nenka registration requirements one na no, we still stand by our decision say ade no say ya ana say ade bin say ya yonkra no register na ye won imprimpri na hote edimu enu nti na ni say yato twene boka koye foforo imprimpri ya ye nimre relative to December 7th elections na eda yanim no. It is our position non sign. But ye gusua ye de betumi bia through court processes, demonstrations and the keka say ye de stop it the attempt by the EC to foist a new register on us no. And ye hu say omode mmara foforo akọ parliament. Say Ghana emra ye wa ye friend CI 91 na eno na eba abatuo hu di ntwire a ye hweso de ye no omo de CI fofora akose omo de kwakosa kira sa amrani enti de ye kani nyina last week press conference aye ne nasem wa ye kanyina no it's about that new CI EC4 dia komra shebedwem de ye ka about that new CI ne ye nyema 9 de di kan ye say se wo hwe kwan a EC4 afaso aye abatuo ho mra ne abatuo ho hyehye ye nyina EC no edeba IPAC ahona amanyoku ahodo ni nyina wo na oma form legal committee a political parties ni nyina namsifo ewo so bi na ye ni EC4 ni nyina adwen ho nti ye be ye mra ne de be kom mra hye bedwam no na ye mra political parties ni stakeholders nyina no ye tie obi adwen ansa na ye de sa mra no eko nti se mo be kai last week ye national chairman cite example say CI 91 year in 2012 at the trading at the time no EC4 ye legal committee as amre no NDC ye penyumu a ye friend who do ya na that committee ni so MPP for so obiamwa and na wo so and other small political parties you know so Kabila CPP youth organizer at the time or represent you more. The chairperson was Yemame Georgina Opoku at the time I know ye deputy national EC chairperson. And untino that has been EC4 ankasa processor omode ye abatuo homra ne de keka ho. But in this case new CIA omode akomra hye bedwemu omo twen se emre beso ama na machio no eno no mo person omode ye omo voter registration exercise this year no omode koma amo amanyoku bi amane omanfa ma IPAC anye political parties adwenkyere omu fiti prekupe eno mo fa esuma se ne kwati kwanso ede sa CI no ekomra hye bedwemu a NDC as a political party yes as CI no yehu de wom kopem se ekomra hye bedwem enti we were not consulted IPAC was not consulted that is our first issue MPP for ababonti abeka say oh enyampa na last IPAC meeting I call no on the 25th of March no EC4 the same way by my IPAC for dwen ho na ye boycott sa meeting nti e na ye nya kwanya hu de wo CI ni mu and the director of elections actually must say asem no e nkontompo because meeting no ye could be ye hu agenda no na CI a ye ka ho asemi enka ho ye hu records of the meetings we kire say CI we omo ani hu nkomodie bia at that IPAC meeting after we boycotted in any case no yes your trofo se ono be furudua na wa mana dikan e na wudua nkonkonsa brusu a 59 ho MPP for nkontompo mu twa to defend the indefensible ntino ene omamo to ada ho because CI na ye ka ho asem no EC for the call Parliament on 17th of March 2020. Yejina was them for mobility check. IPAC meeting no so moka say a dreams as CI and one son they call Parliament. The IPAC meeting was on 25th of March, 8 days after the CI had already been laid. They say then I'll consult to IPAC on a law which had already been laid 8 days before that IPAC meeting. And it clearly no, a IPAC has not been consulted as far as this new CI is concerned. The second issue, and the director of elections actually when they say, your problem with this CI, and they say, Osha and Krata easy for say, and no more baba betray dia, Obibe to media ba, na yajina swaka so ya Ghana ni actually ni dina. A young Krata Yunupe, Ghanaian passport, and a Ghana card. Yes, say sarcasm, you know, iswa. And yadia, Ebema Hokwayama, Nipa Dodona, or more dim fear doom what train, and yet Chirino, and ya Quayatro Mudin. Because Wagana ham prino. Nipa di in fear doom what train or more passport, or more less than 2 million. Nifa Eddie in fear doom what train chira or more Ghana card, or more best 6.5 million pay. So what's the sin ye pa, and I'm say, Ebinum de Ghana passport, so now you compare Ghana card in Tino. So what's the sin ye pa? Ubens or more Ghana card and our passport. I already fear doing what you need chileno. Or more do I best 7 million pay. But Ghana Statistical Service, any easy for one casa data, ekito much less say. Ghana for the wedding fear doing what you need chile was say a trio mudin if the EC is to go ahead with their new voters registration exercise on 18 million.
And you're live here on the JoyNews channel. That was a live feed from the headquarters of the opposition NDC. They are addressing a news conference on a number of issues, including the registration for the upcoming elections, the NDC's decision not to comply with the EC. Now, the Director of Elections for the party, Elvis Efriankra, did state that the NDC is opposed to the compilation of a new voters register. Now, they are accusing the NIA, the Electoral Commission, of conniving to disenfranchise some Ghanaians, some 10 million eligible voters, and that's coming from Elvis Efriankra. He also says that there's a lack of consultation with the political parties on the constitutional instrument, which is before Parliament, which we know that the Member of Parliament for Boko Central, Mahama Yariga, once withdrawn or rejected by the House, will be following that in Parliament for you. Now, the NDC is also claiming that over 16 million Ghanaians do not have the Ghana card and therefore cannot be basis for them to register, because the CI seeks to have the Ghana card and the passport as the main documents to prove your nationality and eligibility to register for the elections, to get the voters register, and they are saying that will end up disenfranchising a lot more people. The NDC is also saying that over 7 million out of the 11 million registered Ghanaians have received their Ghana cards, and you know that the registration ended in the eastern region because of the outbreak of COVID-19. They are saying that many people have not even received the cards, and therefore that is problematic. We cannot go ahead and use the Ghana card as a basis for the registration exercise. The NDC is also saying that many voters in the NDC strongholds are yet to receive the Ghana cards, and they talk about the Volta region, some parts of the northern region, the western and the central regions not having their cards. A good number of people, they didn't put a figure to it per the regions, but they are saying that in their strongholds, their assessment is that quite a number of people are yet to receive the Ghana card, even though they've registered, they've gone through the process and are waiting the National Identification Authority to issue them with the cards. Now, the NDC is also saying that the Electoral Commission has not provided a timetable for the December polls. That is, all the activities leading to December 7, and they find that even problematic. They are saying that the rigging of the polls is not just an event, and that all these processes, from the registration to the CI and every other thing as part of the electoral process, is what will culminate in an eventual rigging, if that is the plan of the EC. And that is why they are making the noise right now, and that's why they're calling on civil society and the media to help them probe the issues as they are raising it. The NIA's plan, and that's according to Efri Ankra, that the NIA's plan to register 80 million Ghanaians in 40 days is unrealistic. He says the NDC will resist any attempt by the EC, the NIA, to rig the December 7 elections. And remember that he said that the third option for the registration, which is the vouching, is not in accordance with international standards. Remember that the EC has said that if you do not have the Ghana card, if you do not have a passport, somebody can vouch for you, and that person can vouch up to a number of 10 people. Now, the party's position, the NDC's position, is that this is not in accordance with international standards, because vouching should not be the norm. That should be the exception. And even up to a number of 10 is problematic, because if you've gone through the NIA registration, you realize that for people who had to vouch for others, it was quite a rigorous process. Now, if you have to vouch for about 10 people, that will delay the process, and that is the argument the NDC is making. Let's go on to the phone lines now. Kwesi Parker Wilson is our man on the ground. Parker, I wonder what is happening right now. Has the floor been opened for questions, and who else is next to address this news conference?
Not yet. Ernest, recall that after the director of election for the party, obviously Fianca spoke, the director of communication, that is some agency, also came to just give a brief summary, and then he's still on the podium. But we are told that in the next 2 to 5 minutes he will be done. Then they'll pave way for the media to ask questions. But as you rightly said, the NDC is opposing the registration exercise that's being planned by the Electoral Commission ahead of the December polls. And Efri Ankra says that the party will use every legitimate means to block that registration exercise. And he cited quite a number of reasons why he believes that when such exercise is being carried out by the Electoral Commission, it is going to foment trouble because a number of their members a number of electors within the NDC strongholds will be disenfranchised. For Efri Ankra, the explanation by the Electoral Commission and also the NIA is untenable. I mean, to him, there's no logic in it, and that he's even surprised that they came out to make such an explanation, and pointed out that the NIA and the Electoral Commission are keen to rig the elections for the government.
And Parker, if you can just reiterate the point about consultations and the meeting that was done at the party level, IPAC, I mean, they're saying that the EC is not being consistent as far as the laying of the CI is concerned. And if you can just reiterate that point for us.
Right. So before, and as you recall, that when the Electoral Commission decided to compile a new register, there were a number of consultations just to make the point or give Ghanaians reasons why there's a need for the compilation of a new voter register. And as part of the document put together by the Electoral Commission, they stated clearly that they were going to use the existing voters' ID card as one of the requirements for the upcoming registration exercise. But a few weeks down the line, the Electoral Commission changed its mind, and this came to light when the Electoral Commission submitted the constitutional instrument which is going to guide the conduct of the election to Parliament, where the EC clearly stated that if you want to register in the upcoming registration exercise, the applicant would require the use of the Ghana card or a passport. And so what it means is that before one is being registered, the person would have to use the Ghana card and the passport as a primary document. And the new CI excludes the existing voters' ID card as one of the primary documents. And this is where the NDC has a problem, because it says that consistently the EC had made the point about the existing voters register. And so on Monday, the General Secretary of the NPP, John Boydu, was on our network and stated that the NDC boycotted an IPAC meeting scheduled for consultation when the Electoral Commission decided to exclude the existing voters' ID card as part of the requirement for the registration exercise. Yeah. And so the NDC does not have a case to lament why the Electoral Commission had done that. And so today, the Friyanka sought to clarify the issues that the CI was submitted on the 17th of March this year. That is to Parliament. And the said IPAC meeting, which John Boydu referenced, was held on the 25th of March this year. So there's a clear disparity and inconsistency on the part of the Electoral Commission and the NPP as well. So it is impossible for anyone to suggest that the NDC boycotted a scheduled meeting to discuss the new CI, because already the EC has submitted the CI to Parliament, indicating that they are using the passport and the Ghana card as the only primary document for the registration exercise. So that is the point that the Friyanka was seeking to clarify, and for him, it further exposes the plan by the Electoral Commission and the NIA to rig the election for the governing NPP.
And Parker will be coming to the headquarters soon of the NDC when it is time for the question and answer session, or if there's any address to be given by any of the top officials there. But I know that you spoke to the Director of Public Affairs at the Electoral Commission, Madame Sylviano, and she responded to some of these claims. What did she tell you?
Yes, in fact, Madame Sylviano also reiterated the point of the NPP that when the meeting was called, the NDC boycotted it. And the issue of the existing voters' ID card, according to her, it was not cast in stone. In fact, the EC at the time, and in her words, were only consulting and dialoguing with the political party. So it wasn't like it's something that they had planned on doing by including the existing voters' ID card as part of the requirement for the registration exercise. So what the NDC is doing is only trying to tarnish the image of the Electoral Commission and cause disaffection in the public eye. So for them, they are the election management body. Every decision they take is in the interest of the Ghanaian or the electorate, and that they'll go ahead and do what is right. And Ernest, it is instructive to note that Madame Sylviano indicated that the main reason why the EC decided to exclude the existing voters' ID card was because they realized that quite a number of people currently holding the existing voters' ID card were non-Ghanaians or foreigners. And so they didn't want to migrate the same problem they want to cure onto the new register. If you want to clean the register or compile a new one to make sure that it is credible for the conduct of the Electoral Commission, you don't have to migrate the problems from the old register onto the new register. It defeats the purpose for which they seek to compile a new register. And that is one of the key reasons why the Electoral Commission thought that it wouldn't be prudent for them to use the existing voters' ID card as part of the requirement for the registration exercise. And those informed their decision to use the Ghana card and the passport as the requirement and
for the registration
to the Parliament as far as the CI is concerned.
Yes, and the NIA has also responded to the claims, but Parker right now understand that the floor has been open for questions. I know you have a question, and so we're crossing over now to the headquarters of the NDC at Adabraka.
Right.
Yes.
You have said that the party will use every legitimate to resist the compilation of the register. Just this morning, we have picked up indication that the Professor Muhammad Yarega has filed a motion in Parliament seeking to stop the EC with respect to the CI. Does this have the backing of the party? And do you also say that this is one of the legitimate means you're using?
Okay. Parker. He always has a question.
That's a school of thought.
And for where you're at, and let me continue from there. Okay. The school of thought is that those holding the existing card, some of them are non-Ghanaians or foreigners. And so when Montreal spoke to the EC, they said that they didn't want to migrate to the problem they seek to cure until the new register. I want to understand from the NDC how we respond to this, because in the words of the EC, it was not cast in stone when they said that they were going to use the existing voters ID card as part of the requirement for the registration exercise. Two, the NIA was also on our network, the executive director, and he said that they have used the opportunity, the COVID-19 period and all of that, to print more cards. So it defeats the argument that the NDC is alleging, the argument that the NIA is seeking to suppress votes in the stronghold of the NDC. How does the NDC respond to that as well? And finally, there are individuals who have turned 18 and are supposed to register. The EC has come out to say that they will ensure social distancing protocols during the registration period. Is it the view of the NDC that these individuals will not be given the opportunity to register? If they will, then the question is, the EC should be allowed to compel a new register, because at the end of the day, those who have turned 18 will still be registered. So what is the proposal from the NDC?
No, can you, your question is not clear. Can you repeat it? The third one.
Some individuals have turned 18 years and are supposed to register. They'll still have to keep and register. Going to do a mass registration exercise also will buy individuals who are for the registration.
Okay, sure.
Is your view that we shouldn't register those who turn 18 now? And again, the elections as well, we will go and queue to vote. What is the view of the NDC going to queue also vote on that? Knowing that we are in the COVID-19 period and allegations about the spread of COVID-19.
Okay. So you asked 3 questions, and Kluchi has 1 question.
The second question, I did.
The second question, Honorable Elvis didn't get, but you were asking that the NIA says that they have printed a lot of cards within this period that we've had this COVID situation on our hands. So that defeats the point we are making. We are talking about cards which have been issued, cards people are holding. So if you have printed millions of cards and they are in your office, you still require time. First of all, you would have to wait for the COVID situation to subside, because if you check their statement, they said they were waiting for the appropriate time before you can step out for that mop-up exercise and that card distribution exercise. And that card distribution exercise is going to take months. But here is the case that the EC is saying that they intend to undertake the voter registration exercise in June. So that is why Honorable Elvis asks that when in 3 years you have only distributed 6.5 million cards. So how many more months or years you need to distribute the other millions you claim to have printed? And will the EC be waiting for the NIA to distribute all those millions of cards they have printed in their office before they commence the so-called registration exercise they are seeking to undertake this year? That is the issue. So he will answer the rest of the questions and add the GAP presentation to it, and then we shall call it a day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sonny. And I told Radio Gold is also transmitting on Facebook. Power FM is live, Auto FM is live, and all the other stations transmitting live. We thank you very much. Mr. Kluche, every legitimate means, emphasis on the legitimate. So a member of parliament raising an issue definitely falls within the legitimate means. But that is just one of the several things that we seek to do, and we support him wholeheartedly. There will be many more things coming from different perspectives. A school of thought that the existing card holders are non-Ghanaians. And you know, you cannot make a law or regulation or take a decision based on speculation. This issue was dealt with decisively and conclusively when the MPP then, led by Dr. Baumia, made those accusations and allegations. They were given the opportunity. There was a committee of eminent persons chaired by Justice V.C. R.E.C. Crab. All the political parties had the opportunity to present their position at Aliza Hotel. That day, Dr. Baumia was nowhere to be found. And the evidence so-called that they had, they could not produce the evidence. Nonetheless, the EC went ahead and did thorough work. And subsequently, we know as a fact that following the court order from the Supreme Court, over 55,000 names were deleted from the register. So what the EC is telling us is that they suspect that probably some people may be foreigners. Now, it is their duty. For example, the register as it is now, if they exhibit and they say anybody who has any suspicion that somebody is a foreigner, come and let's clean up the register, it will be cleaned. But you don't say that because you suspect, therefore you create a situation where inevitably the consequence of that, what they are doing now, will be that millions of people will be disenfranchised. I mean,
even about the Ghana card.
you know, so
that some Ghana card holders are foreigners. Who should prove it?
You see? So it's just some ex post facto rationalization. Honestly, I mean, let's be honest though. This thing doesn't make sense. Oh, you know it. It doesn't make sense. Sebi, you understand me? So, you know, they shouldn't waste our time. Printing of cards, so they have printed the cards during the COVID-19. So when are they going to distribute them? Because it's taken them 3 years to distribute 7 million cards. Assuming they've printed all the cards, let's even agree with them. The process of distribution, again, the thing we don't know, is as complex as the registration. Because you don't just go and, I'm a child, then they give you your card. You have to go through verification. So that is also another cumbersome procedure. So the cards that they have printed that they say they will do mop-up. Mop-up when? When will the mop-up be over? Is the EC going to wait for them to finish the mop-up so that those in the Upper East region, those in the Upper West region, those in the Northern region, those in Savannah, 97%, 95%, 94%, 90%, 80%, are they not Ghanaians? So you deny them the right to register because you what, school of what? Then
every legitimate means.
So I've answered that. Social distancing. So so first of all, primarily, the issue is about the law and the process. That's the fundamental issue. That we don't agree, and we think that by removing the voters' ID, which they said consistently that they were going to use, and insisting on using the NIA card, and we have proven to you with data, is going to create a situation where many millions of people will be disenfranchised. And don't forget, Article 42 says the EC must compile a new voters' register. 45E says that every Ghanaian, they must take steps to expand the register. So they are in breach of the Constitution, because by so doing, they will be restricting the register. The register is supposed to evolve and grow, because every year people are turning 18. But by these actions, you are going to contract and compress the register, a clear violation of the Constitution. So, and then again, when it comes to social distancing, my brother, which one is easier? To do a limited registration of 1 million people, and to do a mass registration of 17 million people in 40 days. Which one exposes all of us to risk? Do I need to answer? Do I?
Go ahead and include.
So it's a, you know, and please, my answer is not to you. You are asking the questions on behalf of them. So sometimes, you know, if you don't explain this, but it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer to say, oh, but you have the option of doing a limited registration where you register only a few people that you can manage and control. Because this COVID thing is evolving. And then in the midst of that, when the numbers are going up, you say you want to register 17 million people in 40 days in clusters of 6 or 8 polling stations at a time. My brother, can't we see the danger? We are saying that it will not work. There will be chaos. Mind you, in all situations where we have introduced a new register, the equipment comes, it is tested and piloted. In this particular instance, there has been no test, no piloting. Last weekend when they did their training, they did it with their old equipment. Waiting for new equipment to come and they will deploy. No testing, no piloting. I mean, can't you see the danger? So when the equipment is sent on the field and there are challenges, and even with the social distancing and what they are proposing to do, so somebody goes to do his tampering, you use alcohol to rub it. There's an expert on biometric, he will tell you what will happen to the machines after 1 day. So the whole thing doesn't make sense. If people have, they should just do the right thing. Maybe. We won't look at everything, maybe. Because it's just not making sense anymore. That you just don't understand the motive. So, in your meme gamen, ofane noni oba wiengman emi to magbla mi gamen fio. Noni yo minji wa wiake oshiki for Energy Electoral Commission ke NIA niji kuni magbe ame ke MPPB FA kome ni amenta na ameto gbaji akono ni amekeju election se mi oshiki for